What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Reality or Not podcast with the homie Ed. Homie Ed, you want to do an introduction?
Um, I mean, not really. I mean, I know last time I didn't do one. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know one now. I'm just Ed.
All
Um,
right.
I'm from
Cool.
Muskegon. I
All
don't
right.
like long walks on the beach. I'm a Capricorn. Um,
That's pretty
that's
good.
fine.
That's good enough. That's good enough.
Okay.
Long walks on the beach, like what? Is that? I can't
I
even.
don't like long walks on the beach.
So that ain't for the women.
No,
They ain't checking for that. Forget them then. I feel you. Hey,
I,
we wanted to have this conversation, get it started back from the week before. We're in different locations now. Ed back in, he hanging out in Detroit, and I'm back down in Atlanta. But just wanted to get the podcast up and rolling, make sure that we have some conversations. Our whole goal is to hopefully have something up weekly and probably have them uploaded no later than Monday at the latest Tuesday. So, all that being said, we can jump into it. Any hot topics you want to jump into, Ed?
no, man. I'm just tired. I was like,
Yeah, man.
I
Work
ain't
be
been.
doing that to you. I ain't working no more, so fuck them. So all that being said, is there let's go into it. Let's jump to the music. Is there any album out there that that's your favorite album or one of your favorite albums, and just kind of talk and break it down like to why that's your favorite album?
We talking all time or just recently?
Nah, not no recent ones. I can't even think of no only album I could really think about that's recently released is the Kendrick album. We talked about that shortly last week, but outside of that, I mean, just your albums back in the day, whether it's I don't know, Nas, Jay,
Snoop
um,
Doggy
Kendrick,
Style.
Snoop, etc. So
Me, Snoop Doggy Style. Like, it's
okay.
some other good ones out there. Reasonable Doubt, The Purple
Hmm.
Tape.
Hmm.
My favorite is just that Doggy Style album. Came out '93, the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I remember I was
Hmm.
down south. Had to tell my cousin, we, tried to get it that Monday night before. She talking about we can come after work on Tuesday. I was like, nah, it's gonna be sold out. She didn't believe it. The lady told her,
Hmm.
yeah. So I went and picked it up. Doggy Style was just like, that was Snoop
Hmm.
first album. We had got introduced to him with Deep Cover and the Chronic album, and just, man, it was probably one of the best debut albums to me of all time. Probably my
Yeah, no,
favorite.
that's dope. It's just it's crazy to see I remember hearing Deep Cover and thinking like, well, who is this guy? Because we didn't really, Dre had been going for a minute, NWA had disbanded and stuff like that. So then to hear Dre do something and to hear Snoop for the first time was dope as hell. So even when Dre was able to, I can't think of the next song right away, but I want to say it was Ain't Nothing But a G Thing. But when Ain't Nothing But a G Thing came out, it was just crazy because the energy behind it, it wasn't like no pumps in the bump or all I want to do is zoom and zoom, 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 and your boom, boom type of shit. It was just really just some one hit, it was just some hard shit to hear back then. And then, like I said, I mean, I was never, as far as size, I never was like an East Coast, West Coast fan. I just like good music in general. So I listened to MC8 just like I listened to Biggie or like I listened to Wu Tang, I listened to Snoop. And that Snoop album, when it dropped, I mean, because you had it where damn near every single that Dre was dropping had Snoop on it, so it kind of built up the anticipation for it. So when it dropped, all he can do was not live up to it. It's almost like LeBron coming out, like LeBron living up to the hype of being a great player and stuff like that. Like it reminds me of kind of that, handing off and saying, okay, this is a great album. Cause that's one of the first albums that I can remember listening to front to back without barely any skips.
Yeah,
I did remember that the album. That was when they used to give the extra song on the tape, which is some bullshit. So like G's up, hoes. Was it G's up, hoes down? Or I think it was no. This is for the G's. This is for the hustle. So yeah, G's up, hoes down was on the tape version, but it wasn't on the freaking CD version, which is whack as hell. So, but no, that was like a dope moment in hip hop, just because I remember, and I was talking to this before, but I remember listening to Snoop and Wu Tang at the same time, and niggas is just like, oh well, almost like you got to pick a side, and it's like, nah, I just like fucking music. Like I don't care who it's coming from. If it sounds good, it sounds good. Like you know, I mean, even to kind of piggyback off of that with Wu Tang. Wu Tang was something totally different than what we had ever heard of. So I mean, the dope part about Wu Tang was that for most kids that had watched karate flicks and stuff like that, it automatically drew me to it. I'm like, okay, oh, this kind of cool. So we hearing the karate chops and the samples and stuff like that. So that always, made it dope for me. And I'll use that album as my favorite, as one of my favorite albums from back then, just because of the impact that it had on the industry in general.
Right.
With art from, Only Built for Cuba Links, Iron Man, such albums like that came
Cal,
off. And yeah, you say what?
Cal,
You said
the Cal,
Cam?
Cal, Meth's album.
Cam like Cameron?
No, Meth's
Oh,
album.
well, we ain't
Best
talking.
solo
You
album.
talking about the Cal?
Yeah, the best solo album.
No, we ain't talking about that album. That was so that album didn't go the way that it should have been. And even Old Dirty's album, because Old Dirty was next, wasn't he? I remember Old Dirty. I think he dropped in
Yep.
February, and I want to say Meth dropped in like November with the Month of the
Yeah.
Man with Redman or whatever. So I think Old Dirty came out. I have to look at the date, but I think it was like February 26th. But whenever he dropped, like that was a kind of a it was better than the Takal album. And I'll go on record to say I don't like no Method Man albums, and I
That,
tried.
that's
So
fair. The
yeah.
closest one I like is the one that came after that. I'll be going on the Method Man track.
Where he was like dark and stuff on the cover, and like it was bluish shit.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
2000. That wasn't like great, but I mean, if you gotta choose a good Method Man album, I still remember when we stayed in Lansing together, and like I was working on two jobs, and you, Owen Craig, I listened to a bootleg copy of the one joint, the one I think had the Red album, had Red in it.
are you talking
It
about that one 316? What was the name?
was 2003 when it came out. All I know is like, man, y'all had listened to it, and I didn't get the word not to buy it. I went to Circuit City, bought it. Man, I came back later telling y'all, man, that album was trash, and y'all was like, man, you wasn't around when we listened to it. Like, nah, dog, I was working. Like,
My
ain't nobody
bad.
heads up not to buy that trash.
I'm sorry. I still look. That household used to be so much good music. I remember y'all niggas was clowning me from when I bought Lil Wayne, man. I still never forget that, man. It was like y'all niggas was clowning me. Yeah, I was like, Lil Wayne. I was like, yeah, man, Lil Wayne, he's spitting on here. And y'all niggas was like, y'all wasn't feeling. What was the joint at that? Was it Fireman? I can't remember. I think it was Fireman at the time. Y'all niggas like, nah, nigga.
First Carter album.
Yeah, yeah. No, it wasn't Fireman. It was I forgot the name of that joint. It might have been.
It wasn't Go DJ, was it?
Nah, Go DJ was on there, but nah, it was. I can't remember the name of it, but I think it was Fireman. I gotta look back at it, but I just remember y'all niggas like, nigga, you bought Lil Wayne. I was like, nigga, like I
Yeah,
heard I heard him spitting, and and that was literally the shift I feel like happened for Wu Tang for Lil Wayne within his career. I feel like Lil Wayne, if you look back at it, Lil Wayne probably had two or three different careers within his whole discography. You look at the wobbity wobbity Lil Wayne, and then you look at the okay, I need to prove that I'm just as nice as the rest of y'all other rappers, and then it went to like mumble Lil Wayne, and then it kind of shifted back to that whole, I'm spitting again. But because at one point in time, I was like, I wasn't feeling Wayne, when he was just saying anything on the track,
yeah.
just One of the what's the track with
That like it.
uh they know that nigga talk about he said something about shitting on the track, and I was like, man, that was whack. But anyway, get off Lil Wayne. But no, I fuck with Wayne. I fuck with back to the Wu Tang. I thought that the Wu Tang into the 36 chambers set
Yeah,
such a great foundation of, and especially too what they did with the record deals in general, like having everybody get their own record deals at other locations, so you ain't locked in into the one large record label like dictating your whole career. So speaking of that, and one of the things I have one of the topics I wanted to talk to was like, and you may have information on this. I think you have enough information, but do you feel like people still should be signing record deals?
no, not to me. Unless you're like a major star, like if you're Wayne, if you're Jay, if you're I'm trying like if you're Kendrick, possibly, but like man, I think
Mm-hmm.
if you're an up and coming rapper, man, with the way the industry's set up now, like man, you can drop anything and put it on a streaming platform. And I don't
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of artists, and I haven't paid too much attention to like deals and what they get now, but you know, I feel like their revenue is coming in from other streams like touring and all that. And say,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if record labels still do this because it's been so long since I really paid attention. But it was at one point where record labels were trying to push those 365 deals, where they got
Mm-hmm.
on everything that you were doing, your merchandise, your touring, and now, I mean, if you are up and coming artist, like you don't you don't necessarily need that,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
don't need to, and unless you're Kendrick, just announced his tour, like
Mm-hmm.
Kendrick's gonna like, yeah, you can have that major label backing for that, but say you're I guess I would say Killer Mike. It might not be the best example, but I guess even more indie artists,
Mm-hmm.
you can talk about that like that support on your own, and the record label is not really gonna help you with that support anyway. Half the time
Mm-hmm.
you gotta come with it already before they sign you to the deal. So if you're doing all the work anyway, why let the record label like get a cut of the hard work that you've been doing? Like why cut them in on your tour, cut them in on your merchandise, and so much of that you can do yourself. And unless you're ready to go to like that next plateau, like a Kendrick level or a J level or something like that, like I wouldn't worry about it. Like I wouldn't go to a record label until I was like really hot and needed the financing of I don't even know who the major record labels,
I
Universal or
mean,
something.
to give him more exposure. No, because I was gonna ask you that question, and I'm thinking like, from the record, like I don't have a problem with the 360 deals. I think the problem I have with it, I mean, you alluded to it, is how much that you're giving up. But
Yeah,
sometimes, like, if the record label can catapult you to making more income or more revenue, like say for instance you're a three six, or you just a regular artist, and you're getting, maybe like, this is on the low end, but you're probably getting no more than $300 to $500 a show, just because no one really knows you. You know, like, I'm okay with, if the record label can potentially get me, just say on the low end, can get me 5,000,
right,
but they're taking 2,500. It's
right,
like I'm still making 2,200 more a show than I would be if I was doing it with the 3 to 500. That's
right.
where I kind of see where it works, but you just got to be cautious of, and this is essentially what I gather from what you're saying, and this is my feelings as well. You have to make yourself hotter so you could get a better deal with the major labels.
Yeah,
I
yep,
mean, and say, hey, you guys do this. You guys cover the, not even just merch, but if you want to have physical, because I don't know how niggas survive these days with physical uh music, but cut them in on something that isn't as impactful to your income, or just cutting them down in the amount it, I mean, do it 20% versus 50%, or just understand your math. Because one thing I never understood, and I believe this from all factions, is that if you sign on to something, then I mean, that's what you do. Like if I sign up and I say, hey, I want to make $15 an hour, I can't be mad at work if I gotta do extra work for $15 an hour.
Right.
If I sign on to make $90 an hour, I'm probably happy with the work that I'm doing. You know, like,
Yeah.
and I'm going to work just as hard. I mean, I'm gonna work harder. Um,
Andy.
even like I'm not gonna necessarily I mean, there's always things to complain about, but I'm not going to be focused on complaining if I'm getting my just due. And
Right.
some people end up as within the or the record industry, um, just trying to get in the door, and then it's like, oh, I need to get out of my contract. Like a lot of artists have shown and told us in the past, whether it's shit like Five Heartbeats and you seeing niggas being hung outside. I mean, it's based off of a story, but it's just it's a good ass movie, favorite movie ever. But you say
Rule number
what?
Q-Tip was like rule number 4080. Record company people are shady. Like, and we've seen it. You saw Mace with Bad Boy. To what you're saying, like, I feel like enough people have seen the the results of kind of signing over your soul
Mm-hmm.
to know don't do it. Like, I- and maybe you walk in, you give yourself time where you have leverage where you can negotiate a contract where you don't have to necessarily sign over your soul. Like I know it used to be, you had to your contract was based on the maybe number of records that you gave to the record label. Maybe instead of giving them 5 or 6, you give them like 2 or 3. Like I think in basketball terms, like you look at LeBron, like LeBron has never signed more than a 5 or 6 year deal. LeBron
Mm-hmm.
typically signed a 3 year deal, but that's because LeBron knows that like Le- LeBron doesn't need to sign a 5 or 6 year deal because LeBron knows he's probably the best player to play the game. So
Mm-hmm.
3 years, he'll be able to re up. He'll be able to decide if he wants to move or not. Whereas if you're like, I don't know, trash NBA player, or you just don't, you might have just had one hot year. You're
Mm-hmm.
gonna sound like, and I ain't trying to shit on him, but like say somebody like I'm thinking about my man Bruce Bruce
Bruce
Brown
Brown. Mm-hmm.
played with Denver, and then he won the chip, and then he went and signed a big contract. Man, if you Bruce Brown, if after that Denver championship they come along out for you, I don't know, 6 years and 120 million, you probably take it because you don't know. You might not have another year, but if you're LeBron, you know that I signed this 3 year deal, and then I'm gonna come along 3 years later and sign another big contract because he's consistently done that out within his career. So just kind of circling back to the record industry, like I think artists should consider that. Like, don't put yourself into a long term deal. Like, and some of
Yeah.
that requires you having faith in yourself
Yeah,
because
niggas was doing 6 album deals and shit like that. I think Snoop was under a 6 album deal. That's how he got out of the That's how he got out the No Limit shit. Like he ended up like No Limit still got paid off of, or No Limit Death
Death Row.
Row still got paid off of the No Limit albums. But once his deal was up, I think he did 3 albums with No Limit. He was
Right.
done, and then he ended up being a free agent. And that was one of the dope parts about Master P. And that's what I don't like sometimes within the industry in general, is that they like whenever, and I think I alluded to this in the last pod, but it's like whenever it's an issue with the record label, we look at the black people at the record label. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like we don't look at, like I said, Master P did a lot for people careers. Puffy did a lot for people careers. Um, just I mean, Jay did a lot for people careers. I was watching a pod with or just an interview on Math Hoffa with what's his name? Chris, young Chris.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he was just saying how Jay did more for us than anything. Even when it was like, oh, Jay was biting his style or and all that stuff. It's like, no, like Jay was the flagship artist of Rockefeller. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's just always interesting that you know when it's a problem, it's usually it's said to be the black people just because that's who we identify with most. So, hey, what was the dude name? Oh God, I can't think of his name. He used to play for Kentucky. He was supposed to re-sign with Dallas, and they offered him like it was like I think it was 4 years, 80 million. And he turned it down, and that nigga never got like a deal again. Um, he had a box. I just can't think of the nigga name right now. He used to play
Yeah.
for Kentucky. Northern Knowles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so Northern know, it's stuff, it's situations like that that's interesting to see. Like this nigga had 80 million on the table, and the nigga turned it down, thinking he was gonna get more. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't. Like everybody's not LeBron, everybody's not KD, everybody's not Book, everybody's not. They don't have that flexibility um to move things around. Like they ain't AD either. Like these players, they're like AD. I think AD is what 31, 32 and can still dictate how much money he should make throughout
Yeah.
his career, or shoot, or he go to somewhere else. But it's
Schroeder was
just,
no.
huh?
Dennis
Huh?
Schroeder was similar. Dennis
Yeah,
Schroeder.
yeah. Then in Florida, shit, 4 years for 84 million.
Yeah.
So I mean, he kind of screwed up the bag too.
Yeah.
What's my man from Indiana right now? He ain't playing that good. He's on the Olympics too.
Halliburton.
Yeah,
Tyrese.
Halliburton, man, man, and it's just interesting to see, like, man, you had such a upside type of year the year before, and then now you're kind of like going the other way. Like, I mean, he's struggling, and that's just amazing to me. Like, that's where people will say things about LeBron and say, well, you know, um, like he's padding stats or stuff like that. I'm like, nah, that nigga's just that good to be
Yeah.
able to sustain that long. Like it's crazy to see somebody. I mean, like see that talent, But then again, people kind of did it with Michael Jordan, until he started winning championships. It's like, well, he's selfish and blah blah blah, and that's just kind of how the game is played or the game is seen. So.
You see that with Russell Wilson. Everybody says like he passed his stats to get the triple doubles and
Oh, Westbrook.
Westbrook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe he do, but I don't. I mean, shit. The average of triple double for a year though, that's a lot of stat padding. Like the fact that you can do it, because and who else was gonna do it if Russ wasn't gonna do it?
I mean, if
Like,
your dog, if your per is up and you like plus 20, plus 30, I mean, the toughest like that stat is one of the unique ones that you can actually show how efficient you are on the court and how you impact the team. So it's just like when you lead, was it? Then he averaged what was it 4 years of triple doubles?
I think so.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So it's just like I mean that ain't it ain't just I mean you got to pass it to the right people. You got to
Man,
be in the right place for the rebound. You got to score. And some of them. I mean, one time he had like it was like 20 and like 18 or 16 or something like it was some crazy stat all across the board. I'm like, nah, that ain't padding stats. That's just being an effective player.
yeah, that don't. Yeah, that don't happen just off of. Yeah, no, I was just looking at his numbers. It was like 4 out of 5 years he did like average of triple double 4 out of 5 years. And the year he didn't, he was at 27, 8 and 7. Like, dog, that's a lot of stat pattern for 82 games a year.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that.
that's crazy. I mean, like you literally have to go out there and that dude. He's it's weird to see him now playing with Denver.
Yeah,
But it's kind of like I feel I feel like there's ageism that happened within the NBA that that I honestly when he went to LA, I don't know how this is gonna work.
yeah,
Just because LA LeBron needs the ball.
yep,
Like LeBron isn't an off the ball player. So why would you put him with someone that's a ball dominant player like Russell Westbrook? Like I thought that was just crazy. Now if you had LeBron playing with like a Chris Paul
yeah.
or what's Trey last dude from Phoenix? Huh?
Rondo,
Huh?
Raging Rondo.
Nah, fuck that nigga. No, I'm talking about Trey used to play for Duke. Trey, I can't think of his name right now, played for Phoenix. But dude's a great ball facilitator.
Yeah.
And could get man, fuck Rondo. But Rondo won a championship with them niggas.
Ain't
But
rock.
huh?
That's why I brought him up because I know you don't rock with him.
Yeah, no, he all right. He cool. Just leave him out the conversation though. But so all right, let's pivot the conversation. We let's jump into 2 minute little spill with just one of your favorite people that's out there. I'm gonna give mine since you gave yours last week, and I'm gonna give my
Yeah,
love to I'm gonna buy my love to Sanaa Lathan.
there
You
you
know,
go.
she
So
been she been ducking me a little bit. I've been trying to hit her up online and stuff like that, and following her photos and stuff. Since I've been I remember seeing her in Blade, man. I was like, who's that pretty young woman in that movie, I mean, so and then she kind of, especially in what Best Man and in the Wood and loving basketball, even though what was his name? What was the basketball player name on Omar Epps' character?
oh my, what was his name?
I know he treated her so bad, especially when they had to play for love at the end of the at the end
Yeah,
of the movie. Nigga, like, that nigga was damn near boxing her out and, and damn near dunking on her and shit. But yeah, it starts with an M. M or a D. I just can't think of it right now. But yeah, man, he was doing it so wrong, man. But man, that's my love, man. I can't wait to see her whenever she
oh,
sees me.
Quincy, Quincy
Quincy, yeah,
McCall.
Quincy. My bad, not an
Yeah.
MOD, but yeah, Quincy. Yeah,
And
Quincy.
don't forget in Love and Hip Hop.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Love and hip hop too, man. And I love when Quincy went up for a dunk and landed on his leg wrong, man. And then, I
Yeah,
mean, he still got her, but you know what I'm saying. I was like, yeah, that nigga got an injury. Like that's what you get for letting the love of your life go, man.
right. And he sitting in the stands at the WNBA game at the end.
Yeah, with the daughter, man. Like that, he was an at-home father. That's what he
Yeah,
deserved. Yeah, man. So nah, man, that's the one right there. That's one of the ones. So I'll get into some other ones because I told you, Nia. When I see her,
yeah. But Sanaa's up there. She low key like you don't, for me, like you said, Nia was. I think we talked about Nia was like what 91, 92, like
mm-hmm,
like high school for us, and then we got to college, and you started seeing like Sanaa, like I
mm-hmm.
said, the best man, and she was just popping up in them little supporting roles, and you were like, oh, she kind of bad. Like I can respect that, man. Like I mean, you can't have Nia, obviously. So I respect
We'll
that.
figure it out.
So understanding that you understand you can't have Nia, like I don't think Sanaa's a bad like second choice for you. Like if I can have
so
Nia,
I so I get leftover Nia. So I'll say this about it, I get leftover Sanaa. So Sanaa, I remember Sanaa was in that whack ass movie. It was like an HBO movie with Wesley Snipes. And I was like, why is she in this movie with this nigga? I can't think of the name of it. I just remember he smashed while he opened up the refrigerator and shit. And I'm like, nigga, like, what the fuck, man? So now why you fucking with him? You know, fucking Quincy. Uh fucking with no, not Omar. Who's the man? Oh, Tay Diggs and
yeah,
motherfucking Brown Sugar. Like,
yeah,
stop fucking with them niggas. Fuck with the real one.
yeah. She even in Best Man, like I mean, her man was secretly in love with Nia.
But Nia, wasn't trying to hear about no goddamn peas, Like Nia was like, "Fuck you, niggas, talk about this shit. What we gonna do?" Nia
She
was
was,
ready.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I mean, but
motherfucking,
like, yeah, I like Sanaa. She's a real good choice. She's a real good choice, man. I
I
can
thank you,
respect.
appreciate it. I got another one for you, but I'll save it to the next pod. But
Okay.
so now we go pivot. One thing I want to talk about, and we've always talked about this in the past, is The Wire. So I always thought The Wire was one of those because people have conversations on if The Wire or Sopranos or Breaking Bad, and I always still lean towards The Wire just because of the whole concept of it was dope to me. You
Yep.
look at it from a five episodic way that it was split up, where you're talking about the hood, then you're talking about the blue collar workers, then you're talking about the government, and then you're
Yeah.
talking about the school systems, and then you end it with how media portrays all of it. So it was always dope to see all of the angles that it was hidden, and then the impact that it had because there wasn't no happy endings. Like
No.
a lot of people think like, well, shows have to, finish off this way. I was like, nah, like, you know, Michael was damn near Omar. You know what I'm saying? Like just, seeing the shift from, Avon to Marlo to the whole what was the name of the crew that they called it? Where they had everybody organized crime.
The what they, it
I
wasn't the
forgot the
coalition.
name of it. But essentially they were trying to organize it versus like Marlo
Yeah.
fighting against them, and then even the higher powers on where they got to connect from, just and
Yeah.
then even the schools, like that was probably the fourth season was my favorite one with with the kids, because it was kind of like you see kids and how they end up going into the system or how they end up changing their lives. Like one of the things that really stood out to me from that season was when my man, not was it the lieutenant, who got
Bunny.
fired from Amsterdam.
Talking about Bunny. Bunny Colvin
Yeah,
took in
Bunny.
naming.
Yeah, we had with
Yeah.
Bunny. He was like he had brought him into the police station. They had him in there with like a 17, 18 year old, and the dude, like he was beyond repair almost. So he's like, no, you got to target a lot younger,
Yeah.
because like you target this age, you're really not going to get it. It's already embedded and deep within the scene. So, but what's your take on it?
Well, like I think you're right that there are no happy endings, but probably the happiest ending of the show. So I think naming ending up with Bunny because you saw him
Hmm.
briefly in like season 5 where he had been at some little speaking. I don't know somewhere where I think he was speaking where like when you took those 4 boys when you started season 4, Naaman, especially being the son of Weebay, you didn't think
Hmm.
Naaman was gonna like go that route. And then I think Bubbles. Like we
Hmm.
saw Bubbles struggles all throughout. Like and it
Hmm.
finally hit the low point when the young boy Sherrod, I think. When the young boy
Hmm.
Sherrod died, and then I think they went to season 5 and it was just like Bubbles finally like getting clean and sober and everything. But I
Hmm.
think it's fun. So for me, my favorite season, and I probably do it just like to be like a devil's advocate. It's probably season it can switch, but season 2, because I think
Hmm.
season 2 was underrated. Like I think a lot of people
Oh,
are like
very, very, very
people are
much so.
like they like it was about the blue collar class. Honestly, a lot of people like black folks is like, man, it was too much of the white folks. And it was
Hmm.
like not really realizing how intertwined it was. Like they were the work on the docks goes back to the drug game because that's essentially like the connect, and
Hmm.
with the Greek and all of that, which ties into Prop Joe getting that connect, and that ties into like the rest of the series with the co-op because the
Hmm.
co-op is getting their supply from the Greek, who we met in
Yep.
season 2, who
Hmm.
initially was getting his supplies from the docks.
Hmm.
Um, but I think you even go season 2 even more like we see D'Angelo get killed, we see Stringer becoming a bitch ass nigga that he is, like. Uh,
I like Stringer, man.
Nah, I mean, I know. See, so my beef with Stringer, this should have really
Hmm.
been the top. My beef with Stringer is okay. Season 1, yeah, he was probably right to kill Wallace because Wallace, nobody knew Wallace was snitching, but Wallace did disappear. But still, you ordered to hit on Wallace, and I'm with
Hmm.
D'Angelo. Man, where's Wallace? That's all I want to know. String, where's Wallace? Where the fuck is Wallace? Um, and, and then, man, and then like with D'Angelo, man, you dirty Mac, and you take his girl, you have him killed, you all hugged up at the funeral. Like
Hmm.
Stringer to me had done so much that like it could only end for him that way. Like he finally everything finally gets caught up. Um
I
String
mean,
just
D'Angelo did snitch though.
huh? And
D'Angelo did snitch
he
though.
ended up being a snitch. See,
Right.
like Avon gave, I think Avon gave
No, I said
String.
D'Angelo's. D'Angelo snitched too.
Man, he did. So he did. Yes, he did.
Mm-hmm.
But then his mom came and talked to him, and he took those years. And all he told Avon was, "Let me be." That's all
No,
he
I
had to
mean,
do.
he told them niggas that he told them niggas that Weebay was down in Philly.
Yeah, but I mean, Weebay all right, man. Weebay had his fish in prison after he got past the security guard. But we talking about snitching. Ain't that what Stringer did to Avon in season 3?
Avon snitched on him.
No, Avon followed the code. Like Avon brought
Avon
Brother
told
Moose.
them niggas where to go kill that nigga. That nigga snitched to the police, to the streets.
Yeah, because String had been fucking up. If Stringer would have told Avon that we getting our supply from like Prop Joe, Avon probably would have been pissed sitting there in prison, but he would have never sent Brother Muzon down to protect their corners. And so
Fair
then,
statement.
so then, uh, String sent Omar on Brother Muzon on some bullshit, telling him they killed his boy Brandon. Like, this is all String just doing a line of things that like led up to it. They're like, so then when Brother Muzon approached Avon in the barbershop, Avon Avon ain't got no choice. I mean, he got a choice, but I mean, man, your boy he done Avon Avon put his hands in too many like pots. Like
Avon a stringer.
Stringer, my fault. I said Avon
Yeah.
Stringer.
Yeah. See,
Stringer,
I look at Stringer like this, right? Stringer was
he went to
trying
community
to
college trying to get an education.
no. Stringer was trying to change what the street was, and he was going about it the wrong way.
Yep.
Now I'll say this: a lot of the moves that Stringer did was literally for them to save face as a criminal organization. I don't think that there was too like it was almost trying to figure out, well, how do we get rid of Brother Muzon? We don't need him here, or blah blah blah. And like I said, I'm not justifying what he did, but I feel like he did what he had to do to maintain the street business. Like the only like I didn't think he had to necessarily kill D'Angelo. Only reason why he went off and killed D'Angelo was that whole, it's like he's a loose cannon. Like we don't know, but with the D'Angelo, like you said, the leave me be, let me do my own thing. He took the 10, right?
I
And
took
him
20.
taking them years, it was like, hey, just leave me alone. I think I put it like this: if Avon was able to get through to D'Angelo in prison, I don't think um, Stringer would have took him out, because it was a
I think
part of even when they asked him in the he was like, hey, how's it up? How's it with the young boy up in there? He's like, man, he can't get through to him. So Stringer more so like trying to protect business. And like I said, Stringer thinks business wise. So that makes it a little bit more difficult for him to, business is business. So that's how I felt like he went about it. It was like, well, you gotta take him out. Not that, like I said, it wasn't right, but you know, it happened.
Yeah, but
So
he looked at everything as business. So then that's why seeing Avon had like to me, Avon was about family. Avon was about loyalty, and I think at that point in season 3, where he does end up giving Stringer over to Brother Muzon, man, by that point, man, I think the loyalty had been lost between them. Like, man, probably one of the saddest scenes though, like, is when you go back and look at it. Like, of course, is when Wallace get killed. Like, I cried hard. No, I didn't cry hard. I'm a man.
I mean, Wallace deserved to die.
No, he did. But I think like to me, like, and see, the thing for me about season 3 is I think season 3 might probably be the best season to me. But
Hmm.
like, I was season 3. That's when I moved over to Detroit, like right after staying with you and Owen, Craig, and Lansing. So like, I didn't have access to HBO, so I was catching everything late.
Mm-hmm.
So, but like when I go back and look at season 3 now, man, sometimes I look at that last scene between Avon and Stringer. I'm like, and you looking at it and you knowing like this is goodbye, and they probably
Mm-hmm.
both saying goodbye to each other, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't know they saying like Avon know
Yeah.
he's saying goodbye to Stringer because Stringer about to get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Stringer saying goodbye to Avon because he know he about to get him locked back up,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know that like the other one to set the other one up, and it's just
Yeah.
like seeing that. I'm like, damn, that's kind of emotional, man. That's like Coach Chiefs dying.
It gets tears.
Yeah, it's that look in your throat. It's like it's like dang, but nah, I'm with you. What I overall with the Wire though, man. The Wire is probably like I said, like I don't care what they say about the homie Bill Cosby. Uh, Cosby Show is my
Cosby Show
favorite
is fucking
sitcom of all
amazing.
time, huh?
The Cosby Show was fucking amazing. I like,
Yeah,
nigga. The reason why I went to college, nigga, was because of the Cosby Show. Literally,
yeah, yeah,
and that shit had me like my whole life saying that, I want to be a lawyer or a doctor type of shit, because
yeah,
we didn't see that. We saw, I mean, our parents had jobs and stuff like that, but it was at a factory or it was at a prison or it was at,
White
community
Collar,
center, like urban league. It wasn't like no actual official title like an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or any of those types of roles. So it just made it feel that it was attainable. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like at one point in time, I wanted to be a lawyer, and I was like, because of fucking Felicia Rashad fine ass. But shit, I got
yeah,
10th grade. I was like, shit, I got extra school to go to after the school. And I was like,
yeah,
nah. And then the same thing happened with the doctor. That's how I switched over to engineering. I was like, nah. I'll just focus the engineer shit and keep it moving. But nah, them shows are so influential. Then you had a spinoff with
different world.
Different World that made it just that much doper. It was showing college like nigga, and being from a small town in Muskegon, nigga, I thought Hillman was real. And like I thought that was a fucking real school. So
Yeah,
niggas go to Hillman to start getting around like seventh, eighth, or like junior high, high
yeah,
school. Like, oh, that shit ain't real.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm sure I've been long gone and shit, long gone
Yeah.
off. So, but
Different World had me looking at HBCUs, and although I didn't end up at an HBCU, like my first choice when I was looking at colleges was Clark Atlanta.
mm-hmm,
Then ended up being Central State. Then I ended up at not HBCU at all, Grand Valley.
mm-hmm. Nigga,
Much
if
more
you done went to Clark, nigga,
like
like
WBC.
nigga, if you had went to Clark, and nigga, that was like that was a that was that was Freaknik time.
Yep.
Nigga, that would have been crazy.
Yeah.
That was it. I think Freaknik stopped me around like 97, 98, somewhere around there, or it started getting whack around them years. But nigga, if you'd have been down here during that time, nigga, that'd have, and I would like I'd have shot down here, but I wouldn't have known what I was signing up for. Hell, my cousin was talking about come to Freaknik, and nigga, I was 14 years old, nigga. I
Yeah.
didn't shit. I had never seen a pussy at that point in time. Like nigga, I was just like, nigga, I was just so happy to see a porn or a magazine and shit. Like nigga, I would have nigga 18 to 20 coming
Man,
down here. Nigga, I'd have had so much fun. That shit would have been so dope.
it was probably for the best. Like, I mean, I've never been like the chick magnet type, but like, I probably would have been out. Like,
Yeah, you got
man, I don't know, man. I would have came out of free. I would have been down in Atlanta, man. Like, thankfully, I have no kids now, man. I might have had like 5 or 6 because I probably would have just went crazy, and then I'd be somewhere 5, 6
dick
kids,
everywhere. Some
or
dick, dick,
like no,
dick.
no money, like, and because my mama raised me right, trying to take care of all my kids, because I ain't got it in me to be a deadbeat, like, and just deny it and disappear on them.
You'd had to drove a kids down. Just
Man,
nigga, but but look, condoms were huge back then. Like you didn't want to.
they were.
So hopefully you'd have wrapped up back then instead of just shooting up everybody club.
Hopefully, I would have, but I mean, I'm just glad I don't have to like know. I mean, it would have been nice though. Yeah, but
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, Grand Valley was cool.
No, Grand Valley was cool. I shot that nigga. I remember it was a step show in Outcast, nigga, and I think the
Yeah.
tickets was like $6 or $12 or something like that. It was something
You
crazy.
got a ticket to the step show. You got a ticket to the Outcast concert. It It was like
Yeah, the shit was no more. It wasn't no more than $12 from what I remember.
it wasn't. Yeah, like that was my freshman year. They brought LL, R. Kelly, I think Escape, I think that group Solo. And I
I was
think
there.
y'all, yeah, because you,
Yeah.
Brian, did Brian come? No, I don't know if Brian
No,
came.
Brian
Frank,
didn't come. You know, we was beefed out back then about the bone tape and different shit from high school and shit.
yeah.
We
But y'all
get
came
money
together
now,
for
but
the
it was
Outcast,
just silly ass shit. So
yeah. Y'all came together for the Outcast joint though.
yeah, we came
They
for the
had
Outcast.
they
You
had
say what?
uh they had Ghost and Ray up there.
Mm-hmm.
Um Bill Bill Cosby was up there. Cause my mom and
Damn,
sister
nigga.
came for that one.
Bill was in
Chris
that
Rock,
bitch.
Chris Rock came through. Man,
Damn,
actually
nigga.
Rowdy had some decent stuff, which is surprising being in
Nigga,
Allendale.
I remember the Roots came to Michigan State with
Yeah,
uh with Jill Scott when Jill Scott had like Jill Scott was just starting to bubble. But
okay.
they came to Michigan State. The concert was $6. So and niggas was like volunteering to do security because niggas didn't want to pay $6 and shit. It was crazy.
That's
Like
wild.
shit, I don't know if you ever seen that video with when Eminem, like that's one of my biggest regrets not being able to go to that show. But when they did the filming of 8 Mile, or not the filming, but they showed 8 Mile on campus.
Yeah.
And then like and it was on MTV and everything. Like they had like a little show about it, but then at the end of the show, like the screen went up and Eminem came out and did like I think they said he did like 8 or 9 songs or something like that. You know, this is like Eminem, the top this Eminem at his finest, and you got to think, was it the year later? You know, you talking 50. You know what I'm saying? So, cause you know, I don't know. We went to that show together. Then we the Eminem
Bill.
50 and Missy.
Yeah. Yep.
Shit was
Was that
fucking at
Esco
Ford
Bill?
Field. Shit was $59. I still remember that shit to this day.
Cheaper than a mug. Yeah.
59 fucking dollars. That shit was dope as hell. Like we'll never get no shit like that. Like niggas be like, yeah, you like to go to concerts? I'm like, yeah, but I ain't about to bust it down for a nigga to get to go see a show and shit. Fuck that. Like
I
nigga,
just bought two.
I don't want to see motherfucking Music Soul Child for $85. Like the fuck out of here. Like the fuck that nigga ain't dropped nothing in damn near 20 years. You know, like I ain't doing that shit. The fuck.
Yeah,
So
3 years ago either.
yeah. So back. So one thing I want to get back to, we had talked about is a second ago, but out of the wire, who is your favorite character?
You got one already?
Ah, shit. Let's see. All right, let me think on
Oh,
it.
you go first.
If I had to have a favorite character, it would be, I would say either Michael. I'd say Michael or Weebay.
See, I was
And
thinking Weebay. I was thinking Weebay too. Like, but go ahead, go ahead.
no, I'm about to say I fuck with Weebay because like Weebay was, and then I mean some Charles could be in there as my dark horse, but some Charles like he said a line to me, and this is how I felt like Weebay was always. He's like, you know, if you if what's it say, if you tell a lie, then you have to stand on that lie. Like when talking about going to war or whatever,
Yeah.
and
He's like,
like that
luck.
line always stuck with me. Like stick with the team. Like and Weebay was that type of nigga. Like he always stayed with the team. Like if it was Avon, he's like no matter what, shoot. I remember when when they was outside the girl house, and it was him and Avon, and he was like, "Hey man, pull the phones out of the house." And Weebay was like, "Take up phones?" You know, like he's like yeah, get the phones up out of there. And he's like, all right. And then they just drove off. And then doom, 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 doom. The music came on and shit. And I was like,
Even,
when you walk through the garden, you better watch
even,
your back. I
at the end of
beg your
season one,
pardon. But
at the end of season one, when Weebay is he's in there taking all them bodies in
mm-hmm,
the interrogation,
mm-hmm,
and the lawyer's like, he's like, look, you give them all the bodies you got now. He's like, because if they come back and find something, right now it's straight life. If they come back and find something, it might be capital murder. And then Weebay just like, man, fuck it, for a pig sandwich and some tater salad, I go a few more. And like this, see, like he gave him Little Man, and then
Yep.
he gave him I think he gave him Gant, the security guard, who he didn't do
Hmm.
at all.
Yep.
That Burden had done, but he was in there just taking bodies and like even like just him holding it down, even when he got locked up and everything. Like he just held it down, and then like you see it, I think at the end of season 5, like him and Chris, they just dap up. Like probably both just gonna be lifers, and they just they do their time. But like yeah, Weebay just like I said, because and even Weebay, when you look at season 4 when Bunny comes in to talk to him about naming and telling him that like naming ain't built for the streets or built for the corners, and that naming can have a better life. And then Naaman's mom's coming there and he let her know like, nah, you gonna let that boy go. Like even Weebay just like yeah, showing his loyalty to the streets, but then like man, understanding like his son ain't about that, and his son can have a better life, and like not because it could have went the other way where Weebay would have been like, nah, my son gonna be in these streets like I was, even though naming wasn't
They
built.
weren't built for it.
Yeah, and like
And
so,
we all saw it, like especially when Mike was swinging on the dude,
honking
like
on
and they on what's the little nigga? I hate that nigga.
that one Kennard who killed
Kennard, I hate fucking
woman.
Kennard. Fucking took out Omar and shit. But yeah,
Yeah,
man, like that, and of all niggas, like that had to be the one that took out Omar. I'm like Omar out here limping and shit, then jumped out of a third-story building and shit, and survived. And then this nigga like the one take him out. I'm like, man, fuck Kennard.
that's the randomness of the wire. Though that was the like anything can happen because like you said, like man, everybody we saw come at Omar, like
Mm-hmm.
Avon and Springer put bounties on his head. Marlon put a bounty on his head,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a little kid who,
Yeah.
man, I don't know if man, that little motherfucker was like, I think torturing a cat in like season 4 or something. Like
Yeah.
that little motherfucker been around. Like, oh, he about to be a serial killer. Like,
No, like if you go back and watch that episode when he took him out, if you really pay attention to it, you know how shows always have like the build up to when like okay, this leads you into the next episode. Like that shit happened like halfway through the episode. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? When Omar got shot. You know what I'm
yep,
saying? It wasn't like Omar got shot and then it led to the next episode. It was like this shit just happens and then we
yeah,
go keep it going.
yep,
You know what I'm saying? So those little things like that that was like I see as highlights of the show. It was just saying how things just happen and they don't have to happen in the order that you expect them to, but shit just be going down. So that was like that's how I took it. I took it as real life. Like it was one of my favorite scenes was when McNulty was sitting outside of D'Angelo's house and D'Angelo walks in
oh yeah,
and this was kind of like it was alluded to like maybe like episode 5 or 6 that the nigga like to make sure his gear right or whatever. So then like McNulty like looks at him and they telling him, and then
yeah,
he comes out the house and he was like he was in there getting dressed. That was literally like, but it's just
yeah.
little things like that, and even what's the story with my man Snot Boogie? You know what I'm saying? Like that's what
Oh
drew me
yeah,
into the show. I'm like, wait a minute, like what they talking about? Like man, it's America, man. I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah.
all right. So I mean, I rewind that see, like I don't know if you saw the photos that I posted, but shit, I took a picture like, oh, where Snot
I
Boogie
remember that.
murder
Yeah,
scene was at.
like, so why'd you let him play all the time, man? It's America, man. You got to.
That nigga was stealing. He was stealing the money every single time, and they was beating his ass every single time. They was cool with it. They was like,
Yeah,
man, that's just who he is. That's not Boogie. I'm like, damn,
it was
shit.
because I think even on finish, so they mentioned it before. Like if you notice, like some shows they'll have like um they'll have music playing in the background, like it's kind of like the score to the show or movie. And like if
Mm-hmm.
you notice the Wire, of course you got like the theme song, and then you got the montage at the end of every season where they
Mm-hmm.
play some music. But they're like, other than that, like I think it might be one instance, but other than that, like the only music you hear in the Wire is part of it's like background noise. Like somebody might be playing in their car. It might be coming from somebody that might be in the project. Somebody's playing music, but it's never like the show didn't
It's
really
not the
have like
focus.
yeah, which I thought was kind of dope too. Like, I was like,
Yeah, it
and
was.
when
Mhm.
I heard
No.
mention of it, I thought about it, I was like, damn, they right. Like you really only see music, of course, the theme song, and then the montage at the end of every season. But
Mhm.
like throughout, like I started paying attention. I was like, yeah, it is only heard when like it's in the scene. It's more like background noise. It might be, they having a party or something. You hear music, but it's never
Yeah.
like, you know, music just playing because it's the score of the show. But it's probably the best show that to me. Like if I were to probably go, other ones that I would think of is maybe Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
And I don't know that I'll probably put Game of Thrones 3 in that.
Mhm.
Breaking Bad, Breaking Bad wasn't bad to me either. I think Breaking Bad's final season was a little bit more, I guess I'll say, action packed than
Mhm.
the last season of The Wire gets like a lot of. I think a
I think it
lot of
just
people.
wraps up. Like I think the Wire's last season just wraps it up. I think Breaking Bad wraps it up with like you said, there was a lot of stuff going on, but the Wire just seemed to be a continuous
Yeah,
flow from the previous season. Like it wasn't anything like, oh well. I mean, it was a lot of things being tied up.
right.
As far Michael and was Omar, was that season 5 or season? That was season 5 when he died, right?
Yeah, yep, yeah. Because Marlon and them were on the manhunt for him.
Yep. And then Bubbles cleaning up. Um, uh, what's old girl? But then most of that was in the montage. But with old girl becoming a judge, um, what's the name becoming a lawyer. Which sad he died or whatever. I didn't realize he was the voice of one of the dragons on what's the show? Ah shit, what's that show? Ah, Lieutenant Daniels. He was the dragon on what's the show I'll be watching? Comes on Prime. It's a cartoon. I'll think of it in a second.
it's
But
something that Machina.
huh?
Is it the
Huh?
Vox Machina or whatever it
Vox
is?
Machina. Yeah, Vox Machina. Yeah, he
Okay.
was one of the dragons on there, or whatever, but he died and shit, so he ain't gonna be on there no more. Um,
Yeah,
but anyway, but yeah, I mean that's literally one of the greatest shows. And I said I like Breaking Bad. One thing I have a hard time with Breaking Bad is rewatching it. Like I'll try to watch it and watch it where like I literally have to watch it from the beginning to the end,
right.
like from first episode to the fifth season, to be able to be into it. Just because like if I watch a show, if I watch it like season 2 episode 5, I'm just like, well shit, I might as well just watch it from the beginning of season 2, whatever. Whereas like say for instance the wire just be on, I fall
Yeah,
asleep, I wake
yeah.
up and I just continue watching where it's at. So but I do that with Suits too. Shit, that's one of my favorite shows as well. So um but yeah, but that's it, man. I just wanted to get some conversation with you and get the pod back going. But thanks, Ed. Appreciate you. Thanks everyone. Hopefully you get a chance to watch. You say what?
Thanks, Sean. I appreciate you too.
Yeah, man. Not a problem, man. Anytime, man. You you're a great person. We'll get to it the following week, and thank you all for tuning in. Talk to you soon.
All right, peace.